Yo, what up, everybody? Silver Sonic 234 here, and it's been a while since I've tackled the concept of reviewing a video game, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been a couple years. As a matter of fact, the last one I did was of Sonic Lost World for the Wii U, and I stopped doing them a while ago. I can't remember if I took that review down or not, but I stopped doing them a while ago because I didn't have a capture card back then, so I just wanted to do them in a better format and in a better in a just in a better quality than this, a bit more professionally, I guess, but just in a better quality and a better format than this. And so now that I have a capture card, finally doing them again. First review in a long time, so I'm actually excited to be doing these again. So the first review that we're going to be doing right now, Gravity Rush. PS4 game, Gravity Rush Remastered actually, was originally released on the PS Vita back in 2012. Sony was smart. They saved this from the depths of the Vita and it got remastered for the PlayStation 4. So, is it worth your time? Is it awesome? Is it horrible? Horrible. Is it worth your time at all? Well, let's find out in this review.
So the story of Gravity Rush begins with this girl, later dubbed as Cat in this game, waking up in the middle of a city and doesn't know where she's at, what happened to her, or even her own name for that matter. She has a severe case of amnesia. So yeah, and I guess that can be pretty, and it can be pretty weird, just waking up in the middle of a town, and some sort of a strange cat just sitting next to you there. Huh. Yeah, so it's already weird, isn't it? So anyway, after wandering around for a little bit, she comes across this man who seems to know what Cat actually is. Who seems to know something about Cat, and he actually requests that she saves his boy, his son, who is in some deep trouble right now. So it turns out after following the man, we see that a big chunk of the city, along with the man's son, is being sucked up by what is known in this game as a gravity storm. Um, Gravity storms, I guess they just reverse gravity, and then they just suck everything up inside of him. And his son's in one of the houses. It's not good. It's not good at all. But this is where the man claims to know that Cat is indeed a gravity shifter, which she is, and gravity shifters shift their own gravity at their will. And what grants them the power to do this is these special gravity shifting animals that are linked to them. Cat, for instance, has this cat right here. Unbeknownst to her, of course, she's a bit weirded out by this cat. As of now, but unbeknownst to her, this cat does give her the power to shift gravity, and she is pretty surprised when she finds herself floating in the air and whatnot, and all of a sudden you're on a wall. Now, I would be a bit surprised about that too. Now, wouldn't you be? I mean, what would your reaction be about that? I mean, how would you feel about that? I mean, yeah. So after a quick tutorial of this game, we are successful in saving the man's son, yay! But we are not successful in saving their house. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. But this is pretty much where they start to become absolute jerks. You see, they seemingly forget that Cat saved his son. Cat's flippin' saved his son's life from danger. If he'd have got sucked in that gravity storm, he'd probably be dead. He probably would be. She flippin' saved his life. But these two seemingly forget that, and the fact that she couldn't do anything about about their house, so they just automatically treat Cat as the bad guy, and they're thinking that his fault that their house is destroyed. Then they start being racist towards gravity shifters. Now, I was actually scared that this story was gonna just take this route of everyone in this whole city being racist towards gravity shifters. This had me scared about that because I would never want to see Cat go through that. I just really wouldn't. I would not have much motivation to help these people out. Um, I would not have much motivation to help these people out in the first place. I mean, but thankfully the story does not take that route, which and I would have hated it if it did. I, 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 I mean, I just wouldn't have liked that at all. But thankfully, the story doesn't take that route. So, after naming the cat, Dusty, which he doesn't like that. That's what Cat decides to name. That's what Cat decides to name him. Um, and chasing down a raven, hint, 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 we come across Cat's rival in this game, which is, well, her name is Raven. She is another gravity shifter who thinks that Cat is basically working for the main antagonist of this game. And, well, she's not. I mean, she does become friends with Cat later on in this game, so that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. You do have two fights with her. She does try to kill you twice, but she does become Cat's friend later on in this game. She's sort of like the Knuckles the Echidna of this story, only she's not gullible and she doesn't get tricked multiple times by the same person. So after saving this guy named Sid from a couple of thugs, Cat is way too anxious right now to know this guy because she's way too anxious to know about this girl that we just seen, which is Raven, because she thinks that Raven might know something about what happened to Cat and where she's at, and yeah, she might know something about all this and what's going on here. So she's very anxious to know more about Raven right now, than to find her, but because Raven's a gravity shifter as well. But after saving those same thugs from Nevi creatures, Sid tells Cat to get out of here, basically because the so-called powers, which is the police of this world, don't really care about gravity shifters because gravity shifters make them feel, well, inferior. They make them feel less powerful, basically. So yeah, this world's basically run by a government that wants absolute power and doesn't really care for gravity shifters helping them out or anything because they want to feel like that they have all the power. I mean, it's just crazy. So yeah, I mean, after that, that's basically kind of it. I mean, the story does go places. The story does go somewhere. The story does go places. I mean, Cat does come across some more obstacles in the story, meet more and weird characters, and fight off a bunch of Nevi creatures. I mean, and that's what you're doing at the end of the day. Even though the story does have more details in it, at the end of the day, it all boils down to you saving people from Nevi, fighting Nevi creatures, and saving people from gravity storms. So that's what it boils down to, which brings us to the gameplay. The gameplay, basically, you press R1 to have Cat float in the air, and you move wherever you want Cat to move at with the right joystick, and then you press R1 again, and then Cat will fly in that direction. As far as combat goes, Cat's main method of attacking is kicks. She does a bunch of different types of kicks. There are the basic kicks on the ground, and there are the flying gravity kicks, which you do by pressing square in the air. Now, this is where the learning curve starts to get in, because this is where the learning curve starts to show itself, because it's a it is a bit of a learning curve getting the hang of this, because you're gonna have to be constantly switching gravity, and you're gonna have to constantly change the camera around to see, so that so that you can know where you're supposed to go next, and know what other enemies are there, what other enemy you need to defeat and whatnot. And it can take some getting used to, but once you get the hang of this, you are gonna have a great time. You're gonna have a great time, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so fun right after that, because this game, as soon as you get the hang of the basic stuff, it is so fun. It is so flipping fun, and I love it. You're gonna have a great time. Um, there are these purple gems around the world that you can collect that actually help you upgrade Kat's stats. You can upgrade her kicks, you can upgrade her gravity gauge so that you can stay in the air longer. You can upgrade her health bar. You can upgrade her 3 special attacks that she unlocks later in the game, and you will need to upgrade them. You will need to, because if you don't, well, you're gonna have a really difficult time, to be honest. And the 3 special attacks that Cat unlocks are the Spiral Claw, the Gravity Typhoon, and the Gravity Black, and the Micro Black Hole. The Gravity Typhoon is one I use the most, because it sends a bunch of rocks just homing in on enemies, and it is great for destroying Waves of Nevi pretty easily. So the gameplay is actually really good in this game. It's a learning curve, but once you get it, you're gonna have a great time. The presentation in this game is amazing. I love the way the cutscenes are shown in this game. They are played out in this comic book type. They are played out in this comic book type style, which while while not in real time, they are still enjoyable to watch. They are still full of life. The characters are still full of life. It's still it's still pretty animated. I mean, the character's still full of life, and it's just overall still enjoyable to watch, even though it's not in real time. And I love watching these. I do, and they're charming to me. They're pretty charming to me, and also, especially when this game seems to have its funny moments at times. The graphics in this game are drop dead gorgeous. This game is drop dead gorgeous, let me tell you, especially when you're flying in the air and getting some serious distance and flying through the air at exhilarating speeds. And when you get some serious height, man, it is so gorgeous just looking from the city, just looking at the city from below. It is so gorgeous. Like, seriously. And the music, the soundtrack, oh my gosh, the soundtrack. While mostly orchestrated, it does have different varieties in it. It does have different varieties in the soundtrack, such as some of the songs can give you a bit of a France type vibe to it, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful soundtrack overall, and I do love it. And they do have some big piece orchestras here. It's not as big as, say, well, Mario Galaxy's type orchestra, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big, and it is always fun to soar around the world at exhilarating speeds. Just don't go a little too crazy, or else the game teleports you back to where you're supposed to be if you ever do fly out of bounds, which is pretty good. I think that's pretty well designed. I mean, it keeps you from getting lost or anything like that. So that's pretty well designed. Character models in this game are on point. I do love the way the characters look in this game. It's pretty on point with the character models and the level design. The level design is pretty fun as well. The only negative I would probably say is that it can get a little bit annoying when you're fighting Nevi, because you're constantly you're constantly turning the camera around so that you can get your bearings and know where you're supposed to go and know what enemies to attack next. But it can get a little bit annoying when you're fighting waves of Nevi, because they can off screen you. But that is probably the only real problem I may have with this game. And that when you're hasty sometimes, don't be hasty. Please don't be hasty, because you'll try to gravity kick a Nevi and you end up missing, and then it just mess you up a little bit. But hey, those are probably the only negatives I would probably say about Gravity Rush. Overall, it is a really fun game, really solid.
So with that said, Gravity Rush is definitely worth a buy. It is a fantastic experience. And if you own a PlayStation 4 and don't own this game, invest in it. Please invest in it. You are missing out on a fantastic experience here. And here's to Gravity Rush 2 being released in December 2nd, on December 2nd in North America. And I can't wait. I'm so ecstatic to see what the future holds for this franchise. And Cat's origins will actually be revealed this time around, and I am also excited for that. On the next couple of reviews, I'm going to be paying attention to our beloved Blue Hedgehog. That's right, Sonic the Hedgehog will be getting the spotlight for the next 5 reviews. I will be taking a look at 5 Sonic games. So stick around for that. And because I figured what better time to do this than now. So I mean, with Sonic Mania and Project Sonic 2017 coming out, I am hyped for this. So yeah, and also big shout out to Mackie Chan for making the intro for me that you saw at the beginning of the video. Link to his channel will be in the description below. And yeah, this has been Silver Sonic 234, and as always, I will see you on the next video.